Tiger Vanguard, in quotes, is an optional boss located in a secret part of Chapter 2 in Black Myth Wukong. I won't give any spoilers away on how to get there, but I'm sure you can find something on YouTube if you need help. This boss has a pretty good series of attacks and changes it up by using feints as his health gets lower. If you manage to beat this boss, you'll get a pretty good Curios as well. Let's talk some strategy by looking at his moves, how to counter them, looking at a good build that's helpful for the fight, and then a full hitless fight to see all the tips and tricks put into action. Pretty little pirouette leads to a left-hand hammer fist, to a backhand, to a "This is Sparta" front kick. You'll see this attack very often at the beginning of the fight. It's fairly easy to dodge as long as you don't dodge too early, and Rock Solid will stop it in its tracks. Because of the delay, it can be easy to resolute strike the front kick. In later stages, he will forego the front kick and jump away to pounce on you. We will cover some of those attacks later. In the very early stages of this match, he has an AoE yell that is very frustrating. It's fairly easy to see coming by the way he lifts both of his arms in the air. The sound that comes from him is an attack, but he also affects the ground around him. You can tell by the little circular spots that light up. You can certainly roll and get away from incoming attacks on the ground, but your best case scenario is immobilize. This will prevent the yell in the first place. If you see Tiger Vanguard dragging his spear on the ground, a 3-hit attack is incoming. He'll start with a spear uppercut into a left-hand hammer fist, and then he'll go into a 360 jump attack. To my knowledge, the puff of dirt that comes up means nothing. The last hit of this combo is fairly easy to resolute strike. I highly recommend. This is also an attack that he will mix up once his health is below a certain point. Instead of going for the jumping 360 attack, he'll instead back up and go into one of his 2 pounce attacks. Again, I'll cover those in a second. Just remember, once his health gets below half, try to be more reactive instead of proactive. Also, Tiger Vanguard will do a variation of this attack out of a Rock Solid if you don't hit him. He forgoes the initial spear uppercut and actually does a mini version of the 360 jump attack. If you do end up attacking Tiger Vanguard when he goes in Rock Solid, just expect the final 2 hits of that attack. Again, as I mentioned before, that last attack is very easy to resolute strike. Tiger Vanguard is more likely to go into Rock Solid if you do Rock Solid yourself. Here's another full clip of me not hitting him at all so you can see one more time what he does. If you are being pretty aggressive, Tiger Vanguard has a quick swipe to get you off him. If you get caught off guard by that, Rock Solid is a good choice. If you do find yourself behind him, which is hard to do, he actually has a stab to a spinning swing. The spinning swing attack is very easily resolute struck. One of the next attacks you'll see is what I can only describe as a backhand pimp slap. Tiger Vanguard will then slam their spear on the ground upright and go into a very large, high damaging slash. It is very, very easy to resolute strike the 3rd hit of this. Also in testing, I'm pretty sure the first part of this attack does no damage. If you do get hit by this, don't be rattled and just be prepared to counter the next 2 attacks. Alright, let's get into these dive attacks. The first one you're most likely to see is a triple attack starting with the left hand. Afterwards, he'll go into a spear twice, rolling in between the 2nd and the 3rd hit. The timing makes this really easy to dodge, but there's not a big enough gap in between the hits to go into resolute strike. If you feel like you're not ready to dodge, Rock Solid will work. If you see Tiger Vanguard do a little hop to your right, that means the double dive attack is coming. The first attack is very normal as far as timing goes, but the second one is very delayed. The second hit though is fairly easy to resolute strike or Rock Solid, just make sure you delay it a little bit. Also, keep in mind the last 2 attacks we covered are attacks that Tiger Vanguard will do if he's feinting an attack or if he is interrupted by Rock Solid. If Tiger Vanguard's spear gets all shiny, a projectile is coming your way, followed up by a dive to another yell. This yell is different from the AoE yell at the beginning of the fight. The hitbox on this thing is massive, but the ground is not affected around him. Even if you think you're out of the way, you still need to dodge to the left or the right. Unlike the one at the beginning, this yell can be countered with Rock Solid. My favorite thing to do is actually resolute strike the scream. It's actually pretty easy to do and it keeps you on the aggressive side. One thing to note is that the initial projectile is a pain to dodge. Make sure you dodge to the left or the right, but definitely do not go backwards, it will still hit you. One last thing about this attack. There are times where Tiger Vanguard will forego the projectile and leap to your left. All the same things are going to happen with the dive to the yell. Just be ready. Alright, for the build, we're rocking Cloud Pattern Stone Staff, Fireproof Mantle, and the Gorai Doused again because the battlefield is small. For the armor set, we're actually going with the Bronze set because it synergizes with Immobilization, which we will use a lot in this fight. Craving Eyes is still set to Opportune Watcher so we can build as much focus as possible. For Self-Advance, we're looking at about 42 sparks. To start off with Foundation, you know what it is. Wrathful Escalation, fully maxed out. For staff stances, we have the staff itself fully maxed out, and then we have the Resolute Counterflow tree fully upgraded. For Mysticism, we have it all the way maxed out for as much as we can. I do think Tiger Vanguard loses severely to Immobilize, and there are some good things we can do with that. That leaves Alteration left wide open. However, we do have Cloud Step equipped because it helps with certain things in this fight. For Transformation, still have full points put into Moon Realm because I love the extra damage after a perfect dodge. Nothing really more to speak of, so let's get to the fight.
For I slew now another comes out of this pit. Such fierce staff work. You wield grand might. Brave soul, why not use this might to aid my king's good deed?